Alright, hello first hour, fourth hour, and then I guess anyone else who happens to be stumbling across this video. If you're lost on YouTube, sorry, this video doesn't have any cats in it, so you might want to go look elsewhere. First and fourth hour, sorry, yesterday I didn't tell you guys that you were going to be having a sub today, but in order to make up for that, I decided to make this video to help you guys through the notes and things like that, and hopefully have a little fun along the way. These handful of clips are going to be about absolute value, okay? So if you're in my class and you have the notes, I would encourage you to just follow along. We can pause the video throughout when you guys are watching it actually, and you can just write the notes, and I'll try to put the important stuff on the screen here somewhere, just so you guys can have that and be able to look at it when you need to write it down. The goal for these notes is that you will be able to solve absolute value problems, and that you will also be able to graph inequalities that deal with absolute values. And that actually is a little bit tricky, and we have that at the end, so we'll get there when we get there. So with that, we are going to introduce absolute values with a math story you might not have heard before. There once was a number named 0 who lived in between two very different numbers, 1 and -1. Now 0 was a very interesting character. We will introduce him to you now. Hello, my name is 0. I have two neighbors. One is a positive, bubbly, happy number 1. And the other is -1. He's not so happy. I don't usually talk to him, but that's okay. At least he's not as bad as his neighbor, who's right down the road, -2. At least I don't have to sit next to him. So, 0 lived his enthralling life between his two neighbors, -1 and 1, who both happened to be right next door, 1 unit away from where 0 lived. And things were all right, you know. The number line could be better, but it could be a lot worse, you know. Then, one day, 1 asked 0 if he'd like to go to a party. Hey, 0, have you heard about the party that 5's throwing just down the street? A party? I don't really like parties. What about it though, 1? Well, it's just that, you know, my friend is, my friend number 5, he's throwing a party, and we thought we'd invite you. Just don't tell -1. Well, 5 lives pretty far away. I mean, you can see him all the way down the number line, right here. He's getting ready for his party, and that's too far for me to go. That's 5 whole units away from where I live. I mean, it'd be closer to go talk to -2 if I really wanted. That's only 2 units away. But I think I'll just stay home tonight. Thanks. Well, suit yourself, 0. I think I'm gonna go. We'll catch you later. Bye. And so 0 spent the night watching TV or doing whatever numbers do on a typical night, and 1 went and had fun at his party. So, how does this story relate to absolute values? Well, the absolute value of a number is really just the distance it is away from 0 on the number line. If you look here, number 1 is 1 unit away from 0. Number 2, who's gone right now, is 2 units away from 0. Same thing with -1. -1 is 1 unit away from 0. It's right next door. And then -2, who we don't really like to talk to, is 2 units away from 0. So the absolute value, or the distance, of -2 from 0 is 2. So that means the absolute value of -2 is 2. Okay? Pretty easy, huh? But now that you have the hang of it, we'll see that there are some rules that go with absolute values. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write some rules for absolute values. if we have a number that is greater than 0, so say we have 3, and we take the absolute value. In math, this symbol, two lines, okay, so a straight line, and then a number inside, and then another straight line, this means the absolute value of 3. And if our number is positive, that just means the distance from 0 of 3 is going to equal 3 units. So 3 is 3 units from 0. So if we look here on our number line, if we graph 3 right here, this point, 3 is 1, 2, 3 units from 0. Okay, so that's what happens if we have a positive number. It is just going to equal itself. Now what happens if we have 0? So how many units away from 0 is 0 itself? Okay, well 0 is right here, okay, and 0 is actually 0 units away from itself because it's itself. So that's what we do if we have the absolute value of 0. Now the absolute value of a negative number is a little different. So say we have -2. How many units away from 0 is -2? Because that's what the absolute value means. So -2 is 2 units away from 0. So we have our mean looking -2. And how far away are we from 0? We are 1 unit, 2 units. Okay? So if we had the absolute value of -14, the absolute value of -14 is 14. Because -14 is 14 units away from 0. So, very short, if you want to take the absolute value of any number, what you're going to do is you're just going to drop the sign of the number that is inside of our absolute value, and it's going to be positive. Okay? So that's probably the easiest way to remember what an absolute value does.